And now we turn to Russia. Interesting reports coming out of there. Reports that say that Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich was apparently poisoned earlier this month. And this assertion has been made by a journalist who works for the Wall Street Journal. He says that Abramovich suffered suspected symptoms of poisoning immediately after the peace talks in Kiev. That's all we know so far. A final confirmation is still awaited. But the story is taking interesting turns. Back in Ukraine, the Russian invasion continues. Over the weekend, Moscow launched a volley of missiles on several strategic cities across Ukraine. At least one oil depot and a military base were destroyed. Ukraine says these attacks were a warning to Joe Biden, who was visiting Poland at the time. The president of Ukraine, meanwhile, has thrown up a surprise. He says he's now ready to adopt neutrality in peace talks with Russia. What does that even mean? Our next report tells you.
It's been 33 days. The war in Ukraine hasn't stopped. Russian missiles continue to rain down on the country. Ukrainian refugees continue to flee to safer territories. These images are from Saturday. They show the Russian armed forces launching the Caliber cruise missiles from an unknown location in the Black Sea. These missiles reportedly hit several targets in Kiev, Kharkiv, Zhytomyr, Rivne and Lviv. In Lviv, the damage is incomparable. At least 2 strategic sites have been hit, a military base and a fuel depot in a residential area. This city lies just 70 kilometers from Poland. US President Joe Biden is visiting Poland. Ukraine says these attacks on Lviv are a message for Biden, a warning to back down.
With today's blows, the aggressor sends greetings to President Biden, who is now in Poland. Lviv is 70 kilometers away from Poland. I think the whole world must understand that the threat is extremely serious. No one knows further plans. All cities are under very difficult circumstances.
Back in Poland, these warnings didn't go unnoticed. Addressing a group of reporters in Warsaw, Biden called the Russian president a butcher.
You're dealing every day with Vladimir Putin. I mean, look at what he's done to these people. What does it make you think? He's a butcher.
He didn't stop there. At another gathering in Warsaw, the US president went to the extent of saying that Putin cannot remain in power.
Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness. We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
These remarks instantly reverberated around the world, drawing condemnation even from Biden's own allies, like President Emmanuel Macron of France, who said that such words will only add fuel to the fire and prolong the conflict.
I think we must stick to the facts and do everything to not escalate things. I wouldn't use these type of words because I continue to hold discussions with President Putin. What do we want to do collectively? We want to stop the war that Russia has launched in Ukraine without waging the war and without any escalation.
The White House now says Biden's remarks were misread, that he did not advocate for a regime change, but was only calling out Putin's abuse of power.
Mr. President, do you want Putin removed? Mr. President, were you calling for regime change?
No.
The damage control isn't working. The Kremlin is enraged. It has taken serious offense, almost warned America of consequences. And amid this war of words, the president of Ukraine has sprung a surprise. After resisting a compromise for weeks, he finally says he's ready to discuss neutrality in peace talks with Russia.
Security guarantees and neutrality, non-nuclear status of our state. We are ready to go for it. This is the most important point. It was the main point for the Russian Federation as far as I can remember. And if I remember correctly, this is why they started the war.
What exactly does Zelensky's offer mean? What does he mean by neutrality? No one knows. But from the face of it, it appears that he's offering to abandon NATO if Russian troops withdraw from his country. Will Moscow accept such an offer? The Kremlin is yet to say.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.